Alrighty, so happy day. I love this. Keep this coming with everybody who's coming in. Now, you may have noticed when you came in that you had to enter a passcode today, and that's new for us, but that's okay. That's AARP making sure that we're keeping things safe, because by doing that, thank you. By doing that, it helps make sure that it's all people we want to have, in here, not anybody wild. So, and thank you to Judy. Judy was in our demonstration. If you don't know, I do a demonstration the Thursday before class. So this one just happened to be end of February. Since today is March 1st, I hope everybody bunny, rabbited. But I did a black bean and sweet potato taco, and they were so darn good. Oh my gosh, I love them. So let me tell you what I was thinking today. First of all, I'm Chris Van Bloom. I'm the owner of the Empty Nest Kitchen, and I am just thrilled to be here with you today. I was thinking Mardi Gras, right? And then this is not a Mardi Gras dish, but red beans and rice are a New Orleans Monday dish. You put on the pot of beans, cook the beans all day, and it's a Monday dish that they eat. I was thinking a little more, how can we do it quick for all of my quick little bunnies, right? So that's how I thought we'd do this one today. So 3 things. We're going to make the red beans and rice. We're going to make cornbread, because you gotta. And we're going to make banana pudding. So if you're in, give me a thumbs up. Joan from Chesapeake. I love Chesapeake, Virginia. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, where's my can opener? Can I get that open? Alrighty. I am all over the place. And we're doing next month when I do class, I'm doing it on location, just so you know. I'll tell you all about it next month, but it's going to be great. So keep those questions rolled. Yay, thank you for the thumbs up. It's so good. Okay. I didn't even have coffee. Not a drop. Not a drop today. Look at that. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Angela. Now, I'm going to start by being really divisive. And that's saying Northern cornbread versus Southern cornbread. These are 2 different things. Northern cornbread tends to go much sweeter. And because of the extra sugar that's in it, it tends to be a little more tender than the Southern cornbread, which has much less sugar in it. I'm going for kind of a hybrid here, but I'm only using a touch of sugar. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to keep it a little on the moister side. Hopefully you're not a hater of the word moist. Natalie's with us. Natalie from Hawaii. All right. I'm going to use a little tiny can of cream corn to help give us some moisture here. But let's say this. Alrighty. I am going to go little today with a little tiny cast iron skillet because I love it. And I am going to put a little bit of butter in that. I know it's just a little, and pop that in a preheated oven. Now my oven's set to 400 degrees. I don't have it set on anything fancy like convection or any of that. But I will tell you, this new stove I got is induction. I think I told you that last month. Holy bananas. It is so good. And it calls it an air fryer in the oven, but I love it. I won't lie. It's so good. Let's get started with yellow cornmeal. Now, I like the yellow, right? Because I want it to look like corn. And white cornmeal is from corn. I don't know why I'm so against it, but there we go. All right, so we have got in a mixing bowl some cornmeal. And here's a tip. If you're using cornmeal, you actually want to be sure that I'm going to put this one in too while I'm thinking of it. You want to be sure that you are storing it in the fridge or the freezer. I actually prefer the freezer. Anything that can turn bad on you, you should store, like nuts, cornmeal. I don't go so far with regular flours like all-purpose bread, pastry. More if it's made out of something like the corn. but I'm really careful about it. All right, I'm gonna take this small can here, pop that in, woo, woo, and then I have got a mixture of buttermilk and a little tiny bit of vegetable oil. Now, let me tell you this, buttermilk is the trick for lowering fat in your cooking, like making things really rich and giving them great flavor, but not so bad for you. I love buttermilk. And a lot of the buttermilk we get around here anyway, and Francis, in Nebraska, you might have something different going on. A lot of the buttermilk around here we get is actually low-fat buttermilk. But there you go. Perfect. Look at that. All right. So I've got that. And then over here, I have half a teaspoon each of salt and baking soda. And I'm just going to give those a little sprinkle. And I always think, you know, what are we doing using baking soda or using baking powder and something? For me, I always go with powder puffs. So if you would put baking powder in this recipe, you would get a taller cornbread, right? Same amount of mixture, but taller, more height to it. I'm teaching a class at the local community college, and it's so great. I love it. I have best class this term. That a lot of them are a little bit older than your typical college student. And let me just encourage all of you to try, like, go check out your local community college and see what you can do there, because our program is incredible. Now, you're welcome. You're welcome for that freezer tip. Oh, you can get regular too. That's so good, Francis. Now, a non-dairy substitute, oat milk, almond milk. Now, are we doing the non-dairy because vegan? Are we doing the non-dairy? Nancy, if you scroll up a little bit, you will find the recipes. They are there. Eleanor put those in. They are there. And Lily, this should be on replay. Eleanor from AARP Maryland. Always make sure that everything is going. That's why we're recording. We're doing all the good stuff. All right, I'm gonna make sure that's mixed. And I think, okay, here's what I've heard with the oat milk. Heating regular oat milk doesn't always work out so well. And we're definitely heating this, right? Let's see what we got here. Woo! Hold on a second. So I would look for the things that we know we can heat. Do you cook with the almond milk ever? Do you do that? I'd love to know. One of us is vegan, the other can't have dairy. I mean, I say give it a go, right? Don't you think? There you go. Nancy, those recipes are just north for you. They're right above there. All right, now I'm gonna divide this. And I'm doing two because I'm being tricky, right? And I have two little 6-inch cast iron pans. A 9-inch is gonna work. Listen, you can do an 8 or a 9-inch square baking dish. You don't have to do it this way. But I wanted to do it this way because I'm gonna have one for lunch and then I'm gonna save one for dinner tomorrow. And by making our pan hot, I can see it's already firming up a little on those edges. Now, if you're going with went over a little, christening the new oven. If you are using a smaller container like this, I split into two, it's going to take less time to cook. So it's important. And as my friend Chef Caroline always says, you can add time, but you can't take it away. And I say this, oh, well, we can talk about this, yeah. I say this because it's so true. It's just like you can always add a little more, but you can't take it away. Now, big question, and I know this is like $1,000 meal today because of the eggs. And I went shopping this morning. I'm in Frederick, Maryland, so I'm about 45 minutes north of Washington, D.C. and about 45 minutes west of Baltimore. And I noticed it was $5 for a dozen of large eggs. And the eggs were actually a little smaller, which was interesting to me. And then the pack of 18 eggs was $8.68. Now let's do our math, right? So don't just grab the bigger container. The math here is that 12 at 5, you would add 6, that's $7.50. So you wanna take a look at what you're getting. I usually go for the 18 all the time, not today. But you can absolutely do egg replacer. Just look at the carton to see how much you should use. 100%, you can totally do it. Across the river, do you see a dozen is $9? That's crazy, that's crazy. So, oh, the cameras are perfect. That's me, sorry. All right, now I've got that cornbread going. The next thing we're gonna do, and I have made so much of this darn stuff, the next thing we're gonna do is pastry cream. In fact, let me just rinse this guy out real quick. Because if you're not making pastry cream, I'm telling you, you are missing out. Because I have been making it, so in this $5.99 white large, yep, that's what I'm going for. Flaxseed and water for egg replacement. Yeah, no, and you don't have to. $20 for 18 eggs. Wow, 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 wow. All right, so many things. So flaxseed and water, I want you to look it up because I've done it, and that is an egg replacer. It's an egg replacer in the way that flaxseed firms things up. So eggs have a lot of jobs when they go into a recipe. For this, they're going to be a leavener, so they're going to make it rise a bit, and they're going to help it become cohesive. Your flaxseed egg, I want to see you do it. I want to see you do it because it is something vegans do all the time. I think it works really well. I really do. I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear. All right, so, we've cooked and baked with the almond and the oat milk. It's sight for you, yeah. All right, Mindy's asking a great question because Mindy, I think you're like me and maybe we both have a little sweet tooth. She wants to know if she wanted to add more sugar, how much should she add? Mindy, the choice is yours. I would probably, if I want a more northern sort of cornbread, I'd go as much as a 1/4 cup of sugar in it. Now that's a lot, just so you know, that is a lot of sugar. But I'd probably make it once with like 2 tablespoons of sugar and see how that is. Make sense? All right, and the flaxseed egg for meatloaf. Yes, rest of the ingredients would say the same. Yeah, that flaxseed for, I would probably go oats somehow in the meatloaf. I'm not sure. Oh, that's good. We have so many good questions today. Y'all are on fire. I love this. Yeah, the color from the egg, but then, you know, there's the whole thing about happy chickens. Do you want free-range eggs? Do you want, you know, there's so many things they do now. But let's talk pastry cream because, as I was saying, my students at college right now are making chocolate eclairs. Their midterm is in 2 weeks. And there are basically 3 things you have to make for chocolate eclairs. You have to make the eclair crust. That's called pot au choux. It's not hard. It's got a lot of eggs in it. But you all have had a chocolate eclair or cream puff. That's what that is. And pastry cream. You got to stuff it with something, and then the glaze for on top. So we started by making the pastry cream. And we made some creme brulees, and it was great. And then this week, they made the eclairs and the pastry cream. And then next week, they're making the whole thing all over again. And then the next week, the whole thing over again. So pastry cream, I can do in my sleep. But let me tell you this. If this is not your vibe, if you're like, that is a lot of work, Chris, I hear you. You could make your life more simple by getting a vanilla pudding mix. You could totally do that. And I'll tell you, with the whole egg situation right now, it would also make it more economical. Okay, but I'm gonna start by separating my eggs because I only need the yolks here. And this is a famous thing. Every time you go back and forth when you're separating an egg, every time you go back and forth, you increase your chances of breaking the yolk. So if you're working with a grandchild or something, because let me tell you, kids love to do an egg, right? If you're working with a grandchild or somebody's helping you in the kitchen, I try to make it so we're not going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And you can tell I'm a big fan of using my hands. Now, this 3-bowl method, nobody likes to do this. They're like, it takes too many dishes. And I hear that, but it's the best way to do it. And this way we can be sure that we have nice clean egg whites, right? Because if we're trying to make a meringue or something really yummy and fun, well, let me show you this. If you get a little egg shell in your egg, you just use the eggshell that you cracked it with and it'll help you lock in. All right. If you get even a touch of fat in egg whites when you're trying to whip them up and make them live up to their full potential, they won't go. So this is the best way to guarantee you've got that right. Golly. Okay. So, Eleanor, could you please highlight my 2 screens?
They are highlighted.
Okay.
You are pinned. Yep.
Oh, I'm pinned. Instant banana pudding. All right, Marie, no on the banana pudding. Too much. Too much. What is your cup? This cup? This is just a Pyrex. And just so y'all know, these will not go to waste. These are precious cargo. I'm actually gonna freeze those. I'll put them in a little container and freeze those suckers. All righty. Now let's get down to business. We are gonna take our milk and put it here in this pot. Oh, you want this cup. That's the cup you want. I'll tell you what, I'll try to pin it on my Empty Nest Kitchen page. I'll see if I can find it and pin it for you. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna take that and then we are using a 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, here is our trick. We're gonna put about 1/2 of our sugar into our milk. And the other 1/2 is gonna go into a bowl. In the rest of the bowl, we're gonna put those yolks, yolk it up. Sugar is optional. The sugar is optional for, okay, and let me tell you this. When I send everything to AARP, I send it to them as a merged document. So usually I put the grocery list first, and then second are the recipes. So it may be in there. Okay. You can. Listen, you can totally use instant vanilla pudding instead of this. Now this is cornstarch. Can you use other fruit? Yeah, sure. What do you like? I wouldn't use a berry in this, or maybe instead of making banana pudding, maybe we make it a trifle. Maybe we do something like that. I was feeling that Southern vibe. You know how that goes. All right, and I'm taking this and I'm just mixing this together. And I have to tell you, cornstarch is one of my most hated textures. Oh, you probably can't tell. I've got goosebumps all over my arm just from touching it. Okay. And let me tell you this, if you go to the trouble to make the pastry cream, first of all, you can make it a day ahead, right? No problem. And it's going to taste, listen, you can use the instant vanilla pudding. It's going to be totally fine. It's going to be fine. But it's going to taste better if you do this. And you could use this, fold in whipped cream, make it, it's called a creme diplomat. I know, we're so fancy here. You could do that, or you could make a trifle You can get a pound cake in the freezer section. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love where you guys are going with this, Nancy. That's so smart. So let's look at these as components of things, right? Let's think of it that way. So our components here are the pastry cream. I've got some heavy cream that I already whipped, and our bananas and our cookies. So let's come up with substitutions for everything. So bananas, let's skip the bananas. I said forget the berries, let's go berries, right? Let's go with strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. Let's make like a whole berry thing. Or if you wanted to do some citrus, I don't know how I'm feeling, but you could maybe do orange supremes. And that's when you take the orange and you cut the segments out between the membranes. I know it's very fancy. Could we do that? What are some other fruits we can think of? You guys think of something there. I'll let you think on that. The pudding, can we skip it? Can we use something as substitute? Sure, the instant vanilla pudding. Could we fold the whipped cream into that? Yeah. Could we ribbon some jam in layers here? Now, I wouldn't just do a straight substitute of jam for the pudding. I think that's going to be way too sweet, right? I think that's going to be just a little too much for us. But you could weave jam in there, no problem. You could, instead of using the cookies, I'm using little tiny vanilla wafers today. How about you grab that pound cake? You know, and those, I love a frozen pound cake. I'm not gonna lie, I think they're absolutely fantastic. I use them all the time. I make a trifle around 4th of July, right? I love to do that. Rather than making a pound cake, I always think it's so much better. All right, and let's do this. All right, now here's what we're doing. I did that just to keep my bowl in place. I've got milk over here with half of the sugar, and it's just heating up because with all these eggs, it's really important that we do not scramble these egg yolks, right? Eggs are too precious. So I bring the milk up so it's almost at a boil, right? And I'm watching it. I'm watching it crazy, right? I'm totally watching it because milk goes from, oh, I'm thinking about boiling to I'm over the pot. Now, I just turned it off. And here's what we're gonna do. While I'm actually gonna move it, I'm right-handed. So I wanna whisk with my left hand. I'm gonna take some of the hot milk and I'm just gonna add it in a little at a time. And did you see? There we go. It's still gonna spin a little on me, but it's not gonna move all around the board. There we go. And by doing it this way, this is called tempering the eggs. Okay, and let's just say Pat just had a great suggestion. And Pat was thinking about whipped cream cheese and mixing the jam in with that. I love that. And Pat, save yourself some cashola here. Buy regular cream cheese and whip it yourself. And when you do that, I would put, I know you're gonna do the jam, but I would put just a touch of sugar in, because sugar is gonna help break it down. The texture of the sugar, right? Sugar's more than just a sweetener. It does some other things. Ooh, there we go. Now, as we're slowly raising the temperature of the eggs, we can start being a little more aggressive with how we're pouring in our milk. And that cornstarch is really vital. I had a student yesterday, really wonderful student, and she said it just didn't work because they have to convert everything to grams and make it, you know, scale it up, scale it down, because they're in a professional program. There we go. And we went and we redid her math, and it turned out she was off on her numbers. And if you were into good old, you know, cups, tablespoons, just follow this recipe. I promise you're gonna be fine, okay? Now, there's all that cornstarch in there. And this is when I love making pastry cream, because Now you can see I was a little aggressive. I don't know if can you all see that pot? It's a little foamy. I got a little foamy. Cornstarch reaches its full thickening power just at the boil. Okay. So you're going to be whisking this, and you can see I'm not whisking it aggressively, but you're going to be whisking this, and then all of a sudden, ta-da! Yeah, I have to say, there are so many good plant-based substitutions now. Welcome, Sherry. Pineapple. Okay, so now Vanessa, let's talk about this pineapple, because pineapple is a great substitution. I actually love pineapple, but pineapple does have an enzyme in it that can act a little funky with some dairy products. So you just want to be careful and just know that there might be something happening there, right? Pineapple is delicious, but how do you whip cream cheese to make it light? I just grab either my stand mixer or even a hand mixer. I let it come up to, there it is. The pastry cream just went from I'm thinking about it to I'm ready. Love it. I would do, hang on a second. Woo! There she goes. All right, now we're gonna let it stay here for a second just to make sure we're all cooked, but it went and got thick really quickly. Now let's see. Oh, that's a great. I don't have one of those. I just let it set at room temp for half an hour and then go. That's it. That's it. All right. Now, right now it's just sweet, so we want to make sure we add some vanilla. And listen, friends, we have lived too long and seen too much to use fake vanilla. They've finally recovered from that awful typhoon that hit Madagascar a bunch of years ago. Remember when vanilla was like eggs are right now? Okay. Now you can throw a knob of butter in there if you like. It'll help it be glossy. It adds a little bit of richness to it. I don't think I need it. I don't think I need it. I'll show you why. I think it's kind of gilding the lily a little bit. All right, now check this out. I'm gonna take this baking sheet that I'm using. We're gonna pretend that it's pristine and clean. And when it's time to cool something like this down, you can put it in a bowl, or I like to actually spread it out on a baking sheet. Okay. Ooh, that smells so good. Holy cow. Holy cow. Okay. Because you're not going to get that hot center. Now, we've had discussions here before about pudding skin. And let me tell you, if you want to make sure it's perfectly silky smooth, you can run it through a strainer, no problem. I make all my students do that. Excuse me. But I would take it and I would put a sheet of plastic wrap directly touching it to make sure that it doesn't form skin on it. Now, it's too hot to put in the fridge right now. And if we put that in, we're not cooling it, we're raising the temperature of the refrigerator. We don't want to do that because we're all about food safety, right? We want to make sure we're doing everything right there. So, there we go. How are we going? Whipped cream cheese. Yeah, well, that was a suggestion that someone had. The whipped cream cheese would be instead of pastry cream. Right? Now, one of the things I do like about the pastry cream is we're just milk, eggs, sugar. Like, it's not a super crazy hot thing. Why doesn't the hot milk cook the egg? Because I added it a little at a time. It's called tempering. And because I was doing it just a wee bit at a time, holy cow, that looks good. Okay. You ready? Hold on. I gotta shake this. How cute is that? Now, I think she needs just a couple more minutes. But what we're doing is when we are taking something hot and adding it to the eggs, I just did it a little at a time. You saw me ladling and whisking, and it slowly increases the temperature of the eggs. If you go too fast, you know what you're getting. Scrambled eggs, right? We all know that. Sweet scrambled eggs. It's not delicious. All righty, let's get to our beans. Beans, beans, good for the heart. All righty. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. Now let me tell you, here's the thing that you can do now to make, whoo, look at that, to make your dishes a little bit healthier, but still yummy, right? When you're cutting the recipe in half, what I want you to think about is, can you amp up the veggies? So let's say it calls for half a bell pepper. Can you use a whole bell pepper? Let's say it calls for 1 or 2 or 3 celery. Could you add a little more? Sure you could, right? Now, your recipe calls for a green pepper. I'm gonna tell you, I had an orange pepper hanging around. This is a no pepper left behind zone. So we're gonna go with that. Perfect. And let's move this. And I wanted to show you, this was a trick my mom used to do. Some nights she would do, she'd call it, oh good. She'd call it a crudité plate for my dad, but really it was just cold carrots and celery. Girlfriend knew what was what. She would stick it in ice water. So if I'll actually store my celery this way in the fridge, and it will keep much longer for you. And I just loaded it. I told Eleanor my ice machine just mysteriously started working again. And I am so thrilled. You have no idea. So I've been putting ice in everything. All right. And if you are not a bell pepper person, I get it. But we all know, because Emerald started telling us all back in the day about the Holy Trinity, right? So a classic French mirepoix is carrot, celery, onion. But in Cajun cooking, it is the Holy Trinity, which takes out that carrot and instead uses bell pepper. And this is very common in cooking down south. Oh, thank you, Eleanor. Yeah, I've got the tips, right? If you guys want tips on something, let me know. And if I missed it, oh, Nancy, you are much more aggressive than I am. I absolutely do not change the celery water every day. I change it every couple of days when I see it, but I don't get too hung up about it. All right. There we go. Oop. I'm so glad I have compost now. Let me just tell y'all, that has made my life so happy. Does it have to be a bell pepper? Well, tell me what other peppers you're thinking of. Are you thinking like a hot pepper? Because typically this isn't a hot and spicy dish. And I was feeling the cast iron today. Let me just tell you that. I was having a mood. Mild. Yeah, mild, sure. Now, I mean, if you go with, what's the one they make the chili rellenos out of? I always forget. Is that poblano pepper? Poblanos aren't supposed to be too hot. I've got half an onion that I used the other day, and that's cut through the root so that it all stays together. We'll peel that top layer off. All right. They have a fairly, Anaheim, poblano or Anaheim. I'm so Steve. Yeah, if that's what you have. Now listen, Jeanette, it is going to give a little more south of the border flavor to it, right? Which is totally okay. That's great. I think you use what you got and you like what you use. And don't let anybody steer you in a different direction. But yeah, I'd love to know how that all comes out. If you use pet, yeah, okay. I love that, Pat. Okay, so I dropped this bit of knowledge. Pat, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to hit this today. So I told folks, oh, I'm teaching a class. I'm teaching a culinary medicine class for Johns Hopkins, in addition to my other one. And I told them the other day that the difference, and you know this, the difference between a green pepper and a red pepper is that a red pepper is one that has stayed on the vine. Okay? A red pepper is simply a green pepper that is ripe. That's it. That's it. And it is sweeter. There have been weird shortages lately. And I remember when I went to go get green peppers last week, we had a party. And I went to go get some green peppers. No, not a single green pepper to be found. Or I'm going to pull these guys out. I burned my face yesterday in class. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've heard? Look at that. With the oven. Yeah, that's good. So what I'm looking for, yes, you can stick a toothpick in there, but I'm looking to see if it's starting to pull away from the sides of the pan, because that's one of the ways you know it's done. Man, that looks so good. You know what else I made last week that was so delicious? 30 extra days to ripen. Oh, I love that. Now, I've grown peppers, and I've left them too long because I had them in the back 40. And we always say the back 40 feet because we're in a downtown area. And I forgot about them, and they all turned red, and I was like, sore. All right. What type? My little pans are 6-inch. I also have 5-inch downstairs because when I owned the cooking school, I had the 5-inch. Now, let me show you a happy thing. This is a single chicken andouille sausage. And do you see this? It is individually wrapped. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get that. Okay, here it is. It is an individually wrapped chicken andouille. And here is the really cool thing about this. I recommended chicken andouille in here, not because it's traditional. It is so not traditional. But because chicken sausage just doesn't have as high a numbers as pork sausage does. Now, I am not going to yuck your yum. I love pork sausage. Absolutely love it. Sausage and gravy on biscuits, heck yeah. But if we're trying to keep things a little healthier, this is a great way to do it. This is a little switch, a little swap we can make. And I'm just using one. I remember looking at the information on it, and it was like 100 calories of sausage. So good stuff. And we're using it. Remember how I was talking about pumping up the flavors, right? We're using it to enhance all the flavors in the dish. So it's more like seasoning. Kathy, if you want, you can just skip the meat. You totally can. You can leave it out, no problem. You could do, I'm not a huge fan of the fake meats. Like not, oh, I can't think of a single one right now. I've got in my head, not like, not the impossible stuff, but tempeh. That would add a little bit of something to it, but I think you could double up on your Cajun seasoning, or maybe not even double up, maybe just add a little to it, a little extra. This is going to add smokiness to it, so something that's got a little smoke is going to be nice here. And these sausages are fully cooked. Ransom likes grilled tofu, sure. And I have to say, there is so much, thank you, Judy. There is so much, ooh, Jeanette, smoked paprika. So many options out there right now, so many good options. And where did I put, here it is. All right, I'm gonna need a little chicken broth here. So we're calling for a cup and a half of broth. And let's just take a look and make sure we're doing everything right here, because I think we got to add some tomato paste in. There. All right. So as empty nesters, older folks, buying a can of tomato paste, I did it this week. I used half a can. I ended up throwing it away. Could I have like taken it in tablespoonfuls and frozen it? And that, yeah, but I didn't, right? So let me just tell you, tomato paste in a tube, my favorite. It's just like anchovy paste in a tube. And how much do we call for here? Tablespoon. Yep, that'll work. I love it. Does it cost more? Yeah, I'm not throwing it out, right? And once I do this, I'll go and write the date on it, and it just goes right in the fridge. Perfect. I keep the anchovy paste there too. And then, you know how I feel about my little garlic cubes, right? Yes, you can go ahead and do the garlic, 100%, but look at that. And none of the jarred garlic flavor. Like it. And those smell so quickly for you. Those get in there. And we do want to toast that tomato paste a little bit, right? Like, let's get it in there. Let's get it on the bottom of the pan. Let's get it a little brown before we add our liquid. All right. And this makes a ton, because I'm a bean girl. Okay, so I buy those garlic cubes like that. You can go to the grocery, go in the frozen aisle, right? Usually it's at the opposite end of where the frozen veggies are. I kid you not, you can find parsley, cilantro, garlic, ginger. Ginger has been really one that I like. And I'm gonna add a little Cajun seasoning here. You'll find this where all the spices are, Creole seasoning, and I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Remember, we can add more, but we can't take it away. Woo! Woo, that's all up in my nose. And that's usually a mix of smoked paprika and cayenne pepper and a couple of other things in there. We get it all toasty roasty. And I know the recipe calls for chicken broth, but I am going to use the water and some chicken base. This is my go-to. This saves my tuchus all the time. Sometimes I mix it all up in the measuring cup. For here, I didn't even bother. I'm just going right in. And it's typically a teaspoon per cup of liquid, okay? I keep this in the fridge. Oh my gosh, it is such a help to me. I also have low sodium vegetable broth. The fresh are great. And if you're going to use it, like I do tend to grow or buy fresh herbs. You can see I've got my fresh parsley right here. But if you are someone who hardly ever uses them, it is a great option. If you don't do a ton of cooking with that kind of stuff, it's a great option for you. All right, and I just make sure that little bit of chicken base is in there and melting. And then here we go. My red beans. Okay. Now, yes, I drain them. Of course I drain them. And then I rinse them. If you want it very liquidy, you could use that in there. But I say it every month. If you are sensitive to, beans, magical fruit, this will be a thing for you. So it makes them easier to digest. There we go. And I'm going to save the hot sauce for a little bit. Let's see what we've got going there. Look at that. That's so pretty. All right, have we done everything? And I actually have some rice cooking in the rice cooker. Now I'm going to take that bay leaf and just squish it down in there a little bit. Good. Chicken stock, chicken broth. Honestly, these are terms nowadays that are interchangeable. They are, but either is going to be fine for you. Now, this has cooled enough that I can use it, but I'll be honest with you, typically I would still throw it in the fridge. Now that's not going to raise the temperature in the fridge, but I'll take it. And I don't want bumps. I'm really persnickety about that. So I'm just kind of get in there, stir it around. I should taste it, but while our beans do their thing. All right, now let me tell you, ooh, that smells good. Let me tell you that next month, I wanted to do a menu that was a little more spring-like, right? That was important to me because April, right? I'm always thinking about all that stuff. So we're doing my cappuccino chip muffins. I'm going to show you how to make just four of them. And I'm going to tell you all the ways you can change them. So if coffee isn't your thing, no problem. If chocolate chips aren't your thing, no problem. Summer savory. Oh yeah. I have got that because I grabbed it, but yeah, I've never had a problem with using the metal on the cast iron. I'm not getting in and doing a big scrape. And also I reseason my cast iron all the time. When I'm done with this, I will wash it. Yes, wash it. And then I will coat it with a very thin coat of vegetable oil and over the entire thing, inside, outside, all around. I'll flip it upside down, put it in a 350 oven for an hour, then just turn the oven off. I reseason all the time. I'm always going at it. I think sometimes we think the cast iron is precious, right? And it is, but there are all sorts of ways to handle it. So, all right, let's talk about this. I have got these tiny little vanilla cookies, and you don't have to use the tiny ones. I personally love the tiny ones. But the idea of the banana pudding is that the cookies are going to soften by soaking in some of the liquid from the pudding or the pastry, right? Let's get our bananas. I want to be sure not to cut the bananas where I cut the onions. Thank you very much. And you all know it's easier to open a banana from the bottom than from the top. One of my kids taught me that years ago. And I know not everybody is a banana lover. I do try to get them, excuse me, all the same size. And if you are an arts and craftsy person, I don't know, did you guys see any of the quilts that just came out at the quilt show? Oh, good. Oh, good. I am not a crafty person, but you can get really crafty with this. And if you want to make yours really cute and like have your bananas and your cookies all up on the side, right, so that they look really posh, you can totally do that. That is so not me. I am like a really, I'm going to call it a rustic cook. Say I'm a rustic cook. Okay, because I've seen all of those and they look so good, and that's so not me. Excuse me. Now I've got a little bit of fresh whipped cream that I made. And this is just some heavy cream because y'all know I do not play when it comes to dessert. This is some heavy cream and I'm just gonna layer it in there with it. And then we're going back. And we'll just do a couple of cookies. I'll try to put them sideways for you so you can see. I'm no good with that. Couple of cookies, nice layer of cookies. I'm doing about 5 of these little ones. Monkeys over the bananas. See? All right, I'm gonna have to do another one. Oh, I should put the pudding in. Anytime I get with layers, I get all distracted and I always make them wrong. A little bit. A little bit. Oh gosh, I'm getting them super messy. There we go. And then I'm gonna do a couple of bananas. We'll just put 2 on the top because that's what I've got right now. And because rustic is good, but messy is bad. You can always take a nice clean paper towel. And I like a paper towel over a dish towel because it's single use. You're not gonna add anything to it. Oh. And then a little bit of whipped cream. Now, these jars, I just, I send out like an email every week, and I just did a whole thing on like these jars. And how cool these are. I love these. Let me show you. This is one you want to make a head, right? And check this out. They come, these are canning jars. They come with little things. I'm doing a, oh good, oh good, I'm glad you like the meal combo. I'm doing a bridal shower for my niece with 2 of my sisters-in-law, and there are no caterers available. So I think I'm gonna end up doing the food, and I'm gonna use these little jars for overnight oats because we're doing a brunch. So, but look at that. How cute is that? And then you put that on ice. You can put it in a bowl of ice. You guys know, I think last month I did a chocolate mousse. And I keep doing that because it helps the pudding sink down a little. And then when it comes out, I would pull them out and maybe stick a cookie in the top. And look at this, 15 minutes. This is good to go. Now, the liquid in this is, I've got all that chicken broth in there, but I almost want a little thicker, so I'll let it cook just a tiny bit longer. But check it out. I'm gonna pull out a bowl. And I will tell you this, I always got in trouble when I was in cooking school because they would always say, the rice is a garnish. It's a garnish. All right, I'll show you in a second. They would always say, you know, you're not supposed to use a lot of the rice. You're only supposed to use a little rice. And they would we'd make this Greek soup called abago lemago. And I'm saying it like a total girl that I am. And it's just supposed to have a little, I would like put the rice in and then the soup over top of it. But if you're serving it the right way, you would serve this. Let's bury that bay leaf. You would serve this in the bowl. See how nice this is? Like, you can eat a lot of beans. If you're a big eater, you're somebody who really likes, you know, or maybe you're living with one. Okay. And then I take just a little bit of rice. I love a rice cooker, by the way. I'm not into unitaskers typically. And you would do a little bit of rice in the middle. And then, I think I got my rice all over. Now I like the rice, so I'm gonna go back and do a lot more rice. But we can't forget that fresh parsley. I know you love the fresh parsley. So I've got this little bit here. I'm just gonna take a tiny bit off the top. I'll do for me. Take it, mince it. And I do like a fresh herb here. I think, like, I would never use those frozen. I'd skip it. Man, that looks good. Oh, good. I'm so excited. Oh, great. Now, listen, Eleanor, what's the date of our next one? Is it April 5th?
Say that one more time.
Is our next demo April 5th?
Our next class is April the 5th, Saturday the 5th.
Yes.
So the demo will be Thursday the 3rd.
Got it. Got it. All right, so check it out. Let's see. Okay, I can touch this, thank you. And look at that. Come on, guys. There we go. So listen, I always give you guys a challenge. Please, here's what I want you to do. Next month, I'm going to be with friends. I want you to be with friends. So here's what I would love. Invite a friend over to watch this with you. I ask you every month, just invite a friend. Just invite a friend. You can have coffee. You can have juice. You can make something lovely. Doesn't matter. Just invite a friend and have some fun with us. All right? So that is what we would love to see. Eleanor, how did they get the recording?
The recording and the recipes for today and registration will all go out in your post-event emails. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow morning. Yep.
Look at Eleanor getting it all done on the weekends. Eleanor, you work too hard.
No.
Anything
for you, Christine.
Oh, stop it. Anything for them. Ellen, Cynthia, Lisa, Mindy, Peter. Is it Peter? My eyes are not so good. Bring a friend next